Good afternoon, good afternoon, good afternoon to all of you. While I'm saying good afternoon, I am not sure how good this afternoon is. Today, Wednesday, the 22nd of July, because this entire nation has been plunged into mourning again. Before we go further into this program, I would want to ask that we observe 1 minute of silence as a mark of respect who have lost their lives. Let's start now. May their souls rest in peace. Today, on this another episode of Same Things, Different Days, the question is being asked, why do we have to go through this again? Why are we at this stage again? Why is it that lives are being lost again? Why is it that homes are broken again? Why do mothers have to be shedding tears again? Why do fathers have to be shedding tears again? Why do we have to lose our loved ones? That's the question I want you to ask yourself today. It is heart-wrenching to know. But so far, same things on a different day. And as we remember this, and for the rest of the week, and the next week, and the following week, and the following weeks, we will have to live with a reminder of all of these tragedies. The question is, how do we move off from here? Let me remind you, and let me say to you, today's episode is going to be focused on the MV Marino. But let me remind you, Adriana Young, the Madia 20, the Helicopter 5, police brutality in all shape and forms, execution-style murders, the farm, cows, black belly sheep, the silencing and muzzling of citizens, the instilling of fear in citizens, the victimization of citizens. When are we going to put a halt to all of these? You see, it is okay to say, we are sorry. It is okay to offer your sympathy, but you don't feel what those mothers are feeling. You can never feel what a 12-year-old is feeling when she would have lost her mother, her father, a brother, and a sister at one time. And so the question is, and we are demanding answers. And you know what? As citizens of this country, the time has come for us to stop talking and start acting. Because if we don't do that, we're going to have many more days, many more days of bawling and screaming and holding our tummies and holding our chest and hugging each other to comfort them if we don't take a stand. This vessel, as we are being told, and that we've seen flashing all over social media, is 87 years old or more. The issue here is not the vessel. The issue here is the incompetence, the negligence of the persons who are supposed to be manning what happens in this sector. So, it is not about the captain of this vessel. It's about those who are higher than the captain of this vessel, sorry. And if you were paying attention, then you would recognize that there were many days that the staff absented themselves from work. The captain absented himself from work. Superintendents absented themselves from work because they've been complaining to both ministers, not only one minister, both ministers they've been complaining to. And their cries went unheard. But you know what? Today, we want to put them at the foot of the cross. That should not be. They don't have the authority to sign off on contracts. They don't have the authority to pull a vessel into dock. They don't have that authority. And so the blame now must be laid squarely at the feet of the two ministers, Indar and Wadajil. Those are the two ministers we should be asking. We should not even have to ask them to resign. You know, if you check, if you do your research, you will see in several other countries, forthwith, we have seen when ferries sunk, we have seen the resignation of those ministers ASAP. Nobody had to ask them to do that. And then we have a foolish prime minister who's talking about the noise. Mark Phillips is a waste of time as a prime minister. You know why he can speak like that? Because he didn't have to go on that ferry. That is why he can speak like that. None of his children or grandchildren doesn't have to go on that ferry, or they didn't have to go there. That is why he can say what he is saying. Loose cannon, callous. At this time when people are hurting and people are calling for those in authority to take responsibility, you're telling us that you're hearing the noise, and journalists are adding to more of the noise. Mark Phillips himself should go. Our count so far is 103. In this country, Guyana, you know, we've been reading of these incidents and these tragedies, and we never thought that one day we will have it right here. In this country that they boast about, the Dubai of the Caribbean, with a $1.5 trillion budget, and our Amerindian brothers and sisters have to suffer this fate. Our Indo brothers and sisters have to suffer this fate. Our Afro brothers and sisters have to suffer this fate. You know? And then the lies upon the lies, upon the lies, upon the lies, upon more lies. One agent is telling this nation that there was no mechanical problem. There was no engine problem. There was no overloading of the vessel. And the survivors are saying different. Every survivor who was on that boat is saying something totally different to what he is saying. And you know what? This did not happen overnight. For those of us who have traveled, those of you who have traveled with ferries, we know that this has been a cry from every fold that these ferries are packed way beyond. If you know about traveling to Region 6 from Rossignol, traveling to Region 6, you would understand what I'm saying. You have to be there at a certain time to be in the line. And sometimes you're right there and all you're seeing is a vehicle driving past you because somebody collect a phone call to allow a vehicle to go on board and somebody has got to be left off or to squeeze somebody on. So that has not been today or last week or last Saturday. And the authorities, they know that A1 because they too have been part and parcel of doing the very same thing, calling to let their friends on or to allow their friends' goods to go on. And what you expect the captains to do? They can't disobey those orders. And the sailors, they have to allow them on because a call came through. Just the same way we see our police officers operating when they say to us they have received orders from higher up. Just the same way these men receive orders from higher up. And they have to bypass the rules. But you know what? It is deeper than that. What about the safety regulations? What about the safety regulations? Were these folks adorned in their life jackets? I am sure that there are SOPs for the operations of these vessels. There are SOPs. Who is placed there to ensure that when passengers board our vessels, that they have their life jackets on? Who's ensuring that? Who is there checking to ensure that the number of persons whose names have been written down there as would have purchased their tickets, that those are the amount of persons on our vessels? Who's there to ensure that? And so we can't run away from the fact that everyone in that sector must take blame. So this is not about the captain. This is not about a few sailors. This is not about a superintendent. This is about the minister, the PS, and all of them. They have failed our people once again. How many more times are we going to cry, like I've been saying? How many more times are we going to cry? How many more times are we going to cry? Ask yourself that question. It could have been you. It could have been your child. It could have been me. It could have been my child or my family members. As a matter of fact, I have a far off cousin who his body has not yet been found. You know what? He has left a 6 weeks old, a 4-year-old son and a 6 weeks old baby girl. Yes. And this is where things get deeper. This is where things get deeper. But you know what is worse? What is worse is the fact that I could have left this country, traveled to the United States of America, pass through immigration, go pick up my bags, and go out there and get to my home and settle down before some form of rescue would have been given to our brothers and sisters. Between 6 to 7 hours it took government to respond to that. Even though they got a call, the distress call was sent out since 10:20 on that fateful night. $1.5 trillion budget. Where did those monies go, especially the monies that would have been allotted to that sector? How often were we maintaining this vessel? Who was doing constant checks to see whether this vessel can still operate at this level? And you hear all the talks. You see all the information being sent out there. as to the age of the vessel, as to what would have been worn out, what was not worn out. And we see from the videos that have been shown, and we heard from a survivor who said they were stuck on the sandbank. It took them 45 minutes to get off of that sandbank. And they started limping on one engine. One engine. Is this how we value the lives of our people? The minister and the prime minister must tell us that. Those two ministers and the prime minister must tell us that. Is that how you value the lives of our people? That's the value you place to the lives of our people? Why did we have to allow that vessel to go when there were so many things acting up? Why did we take so long to offer assistance? We bought 2 brand new helicopters. Mind you, they weren't bought from the same company, different companies. We helter skelter, these people run to do things. And they run to do things where they can get a drawback, you know? The drawback is the thing. 2 brand new helicopters, none of them are functional. None. And it has been over 2 months. None of the 2 are functional. So we always, am I to understand that these things are set up because we want to distract from all kinds of things that are out there? God forbid if that was the intention. I mean, I might sound a little crude. These are not cows and goats and sheep you're talking about. These are human lives. Babies, you know, young children, teenagers, adults you're talking about. Regardless of what we say and what vigil is being held across this country, that will not replace them. The absence of these individuals will continually be felt by their family members. Same things, different days. Same things, different days. Lord, help us. Lord, help us. Where are we going? When we are going to have a minister coming out there to bully Guyanese people, to bully Guyanese people with all kinds of figures. You're telling us one Edgil, it's 116. And you check the numbers that we're having now. Those who have been rescued, those who have been found, and those who have not been found. You tell us, how is that adding up to 116? You know, and you keep boasting, blast the arrogance in these people at a time like this. And then the Minister of Tint comes out to say persons are going to be charged for misleading and giving misinformation. One Edgil should be the first to face a criminal charge because he has misled this nation from the inception. He should not be spared. False information. Oh, you have a manifest. You have a manifest. And 67 of those who were rescued first, half of that number, their names are not on the manifest. Why these people continue to feel that Guyanese are stupid? Guyanese here locally and in the diaspora. You know, every 2 mornings, Guyana is up on the world map, on this internet space, on social media for the wrong things every 2 mornings. And this happens under the PPP only. The PPP only, these things happen. Because you know what? Greed is it. Acquiring wealth for themselves is it. And the welfare of the citizens, that comes last on their list. So while they come out there to give you $100,000, they thief in 40 million. And that's why they're able to build mansions with pools and so on. Because Guyanese, the lives of Guyanese don't matter to them, except for when they're ready for your votes. So now the minister there, he's trying to cover his tracks. They're trying to cover their tracks. They're trying to do all sorts of foolishness. At a time like this, all and sundry, all hands should be on deck at a time like this. But you know what? They keep telling you that persons want to make this thing political and to gain political mileage. Absolute nonsense at a time like this. And let me say to you, the PPP made this political because on Sunday morning, when the opposition MPs turned up at the Umanayana, we were blocked from entering that compound. Some MPs managed to go in, and by the time they got to the entrance of the Umanayana, they were blocked there by the Minister of Tint and Kwame McCoy, the blogger. Because he always has blogs that he's writing a whole lot of nonsense on. The two of them stood there. You couldn't pass there. Only for family members. Only family members could have gone in there. And they were so cruel and callous that if you had 3 family members going there, 1 family member was allowed to enter. The others had to sit outside and in the sun. And they're so cruel. Not even a tent or a bench or a desk or a chair they couldn't put there. You know, that's how much they respect people and the feelings of our people when we are struck with tragedies. That's how much they respect us. It is disgusting, to say the least. And Guyanese, we have to take a stand. We must take a stand. One Edgel must go. And we have to come out in our numbers and walk the streets and demand that one Edgel and Indar must go. They must go. They don't deserve to benefit from our taxpayers' dollars anymore. They must go. When you hear the cries of a mother who has lost 7 children, one blow, it wasn't her own doing. When you looked at the manner in which our people were on that ferry, some hanging in hammocks, some sleeping on the floor on cardboard, some sleeping on a mattress. Is that the way we treat our people? Is that the way to treat our people? And now, they're preventing opposition members from flying a drone, from getting closer. Opposition MPs, they're preventing. They don't want to hear you talk. So yesterday, they arrested MP Sherrod Duncan. And they're saying, oh, because he didn't get permission to fly his drone. At this time, you need every hand, like I said, on deck. But you know what? They don't want us to get the true figures. They don't want the true numbers to be revealed of how many persons have lost their lives. So they would want to duck and scammer and do all sorts of things. That is what they're trying to do. That's why they don't want independent minds out there. And so while they're saying so far the count is about 143 somewhere there, we know that many more persons were on that vessel, many more. And so don't be surprised if that count tallies up to 200 or 250. This vessel has been there. Again, how often have we been servicing this vessel? It is reported that a contractor who bid to do the servicing of this vehicle, he was sidelined. You know, I can tell you what, under the coalition government, that very vessel was pulled off for a long period of time. New engine was replaced. The minister then, Minister Patterson, himself used to do random visits, random ferrying on that very ferry. Have you ever seen one Egil out there on that ferry? Have you ever seen him out there? Have you ever seen Indar out there? And this is the kind of negligence and incompetence we talk about coming from the PPP. They don't care. They just don't care. And so we want to ask at this time for an independent investigation. We don't want cat to watch milk. So don't come around here and tell us that you have your people to do the investigation. Hell no. Because they're not going to tell us the truth. You know, already we've gotten calls from some of the workers there. Some of the sailors who were not on the shift, who have received threatening calls that they should not speak to any media house. They should not speak to the opposition. Why do you want to tell them not to speak? Why you don't want the truth to come out? You should allow the captain to be free that you've held right now and allow him to speak. Let him come out and speak. Release the captain and let him speak. But y'all don't want to do that because he will speak and he will speak the truth. He will speak the truth. So y'all don't want him to come out. Y'all don't want him to speak. Y'all don't want him to come out and speak. And you don't want other members within that grouping, other captains and other sailors to speak to the media. You don't want them to speak to the opposition because you got things to hide. Plenty things you got to hide. Plenty skeletons y'all got in the closet. You don't want them out. You know, I remember sitting in Parliament in 2004 and heard Minister Egil boasting about a new ferry that they would have bought. To date, we can't see that ferry flying this very route that he said this MV Barima was going to be pulled off. And that one would have been flying that route. To date, we can't see it. But you know what we have seen? We've seen that very ferry that was bought doing boat ride, excursion, big dance on the river. Big dance on the river, boat ride, boat excursion. That very ferry that was bought to allow our Guyanese people to travel in comfort. You're not using it for that purpose, but you're using it to have big party. Boat cruise, big boat cruise, so that the kickbacks could come in. Egil must go. Indar must go. They're not worthy to sit there and to be called honorable anymore. They're not honorable. They're no longer honorable. They must be sent packing. And if the president is worth his salt, you shouldn't even ask them. Because one Egil is so pompous to say, oh, that is at the discretion of the president. The president shouldn't have any discretion at this time. They should go. Let me take you back. The late Rashdi Jackson. His son was caught up in a melody. Nobody died. You know? He was caught, it is alleged that he was caught with marijuana. Rashly Jackson immediately tendered his resignation. He didn't wait for the media. He didn't wait for the president's discretion. He didn't wait for anybody to call on him. He tendered his resignation. And that is what you call. That is what you call a man with standards and integrity. Not these crooks that we got here. You know, they got to collect more. They have to scramble more. And when the Guyanese people call out, when you don't have water and you don't have this, they hustle to give you a black tanker too. They hustle to shut your mouths up with $100,000. Guyanese, it's time for us to wake up. We must stand now as a nation, not as Indians and Africans and Chinese and Indo-Guyanese and whatever else. Mixed races. We must stand as one people, one nation, with one destiny at this time. This should never happen again. Should never happen again. We should not have the same things happening on different days anymore. The time for that has come to an end, and it must end now. Incompetence more than this. Let me say to you, they have graduated when it comes to incompetence. They score perfect 100 when it comes to incompetence. Every sector, you check it, 100% when it comes to incompetence. And then the minister comes out there to say, a heavy wave, a heavy wave. Look how many more you travel all around this country on cruise ships. You travel on ships like these. The ship that they brought from Calcutta, India, it had to face heavy wind. It had to face heavy wind. And we didn't have this. We didn't have that tragedy. It didn't sink. And look how far it came from. Look how far it came from. And then the government want to portray this attitude. You know, you go out, you look at them, you look at the pictures, and they're playing, they're crying with the people, and they're so comforting, the kind of comfort they want to offer to our people who have lost their loved ones, and the negligence of these people, and the hypocritical and alligator tears that they come putting down. We have to stop accepting these crazy things. I thought that by now we would have learned from the Madhya 20, from the helicopter 5. We should have learned from it. But no. No. The lives of Guyanese don't matter. Guyanese, the welfare of Guyanese citizens don't matter to these people. It doesn't matter to them. And you know, they come to talk about, when we look at overcrowding and so on. And we look at the issue of safety. Just the other day, on the 25th of May, thousands were on the ferry heading to Fort Island. Thousands. No safety precautions were in place. None. And so, and this was encouraged directly by the government. It was encouraged. I'm sure you saw those videos. Even the American ambassador was caught up in the melee. It was packed to capacity. So we got to change it. We got to change it. When you're going, as long as you're going on a ferry, you must have your life jackets on. As long as you're going on a ferry on those kinds of extended journey, then proper maintenance must be given. Proper checks and inspections must be done. These vessels must be declared seaworthy before we allow them to go out there. But you know what? If we fix them, it's too much money is going out. We can't the monies can't be siphoned off by these crooks and these scamps. or they put a little bit of money, they budget a certain amount of monies, but a quarter of the money is going to the vessel and three-quarter going in their pockets. These are the rascals that we have to deal with in this country. And Guyanese people, the time is now. You have to make that change. You have to decide what is good for you. You have to decide what is good for your family members and for your fellow Guyanese citizens. Enough is enough. Enough is enough. Enough is enough. They jump out to go to test the surviving crew members for drugs and whatever else, and alcohol. How you know to do that? How you know you must jump out and do that? Huh? It's not because you're aware that these things have been happening all along and you did nothing about it. How did you jump out so quickly to test them for that? All you know, some of the marijuana on the boat might have probably been theirs to drop off here and to drop off there. Some of the cocaine that have been found in Mabaroom and so on, and in some of the other areas might very well have been some belonging to them and coming to Georgetown when the ferry returned in. All you can think, all these conclusions it leads one to. This government is no good for this country. No good. Absolutely no good for this country. And so I want to say to us, these brothers and sisters, we cannot continue to lose our people. At 10:20 on Saturday night, our people, you hear voice notes all over where the passengers there were sending to their family members, asking them to call for help for us, call for help for us. The boat taking in water, call for help for us. We are going to die. Sunday morning, Irfan Ali woke up in the comfort of his own home with his family members there. 1 p.m., 2 p.m., Mark Phillips woke up in the home that was provided for him, the Prime Minister's residence, in the comfort of that home with his family members around him. Many could not sleep from Saturday when they got that message Saturday night. Some are still not sleeping. Incompetence, negligence, don't care attitude. That's the government that is sitting there. Those are the people who are sitting in government. And then they will come and jump around. Oh, we will stand the expenses. Oh, we will do this. That can't bring back their lives. That can't bring them back. It is disgusting and heartrending that we have to be going through these things, same things, different days, over and over and over. How many more? How much longer? Are you saying to me that our Amerindian brothers don't deserve better? Is that what you're saying to us? Is that what you're saying to us? From the time of this tragedy, calls should have been gone out all over to ask for persons to come on board. The president is good friends with some of our Caribbean leaders. Why didn't ask Barbados to send some of their soldiers? We building 300 homes in Jamaica, and we can't get a proper ferry for our people to travel on. 300 homes. We sending help here and there and everywhere. and our people are left to suffer. Here, finally, you ought to be ashamed of yourself. We couldn't get a few divers from Barbados. We couldn't get a few divers. Ask Ralph Gonzalez. You couldn't get him to send us a few divers. You couldn't fly some in from Jamaica to assist us? Or is it that you want to delay and delay and delay that operation with 3 and 4, thanks to the French government? And I also learned that Trinidad has sent help to us. Thank you to them. But it seems as if this government's plan is to allow that ferry to stay where it is until those bodies disintegrate and you can't find any more. And then they give you a figure to say, oh, it is this amount. But the truth, you can't hide it, you know. You can't hide the truth. The truth stays afloat like oil. Have you ever thrown oil in a glass with water? Have you ever thrown oil in a glass with water? It doesn't stay down. It would always pop up to the top. That's the truth that they want to conceal. But they can't conceal it because we know better. And since we know better, we have to do better. The callousness of this government must be stopped. Their irresponsibleness must be stopped. They're heartless and cruel, and we must bring an end to that. And so we will not stop calling for the head or the heads of one Edgil and Indar. They must go. They must go. They must go. And we will ensure that they go. 20 were trapped in a dorm. Well grilled up. Even though the warning was there that this is a safety hazard. This is death you're talking about. 20 had to die. We have not learned from that. Or simply, they don't care. They just don't care. They just don't care. And oh, I have the manifest. And he got the manifest and he has the manifest. Where was the manifest for May 25th and the night of May 25th when you ferried them? Huh? When you ferried them to the flag raising, where was the manifest? The double standards. The double standards. And then you want to come here to point fingers and to talk a whole bundle of trash. Y'all remind one Edgil. Remind one Edgil. Remind Indar. Remind Priya on the whole side of them. That they're a set of hypocrites. Hypocrites. Heartless people. A bunch of criminals. That they're them. Those are the sanctimonious gangsters that set out there every time to create hurt, struggle, and hardship for Guyanese people. That same bunch. And we will not rest. We will not rest until you get it right. Until you get it right. You know, it was good to retire a 48-year-old bridge. It was good to retire that bridge. But it's not good to retire an 87 plus years old vessel, especially since you have not been doing proper maintenance to that vessel. It's not okay. And you're telling us not to politicize this when you're the ones politicizing it? You're the ones politicizing it and you're telling us not to politicize it? So we have what, 70 something, 77 rescued? It is not yet confirmed, but rumors have it that there is one survivor who was walking in the mud off of some shore. He drifted so far and he was able to walk off there. We are waiting confirmation of that. And the death toll has climbed to 103. So if you had 116 persons on that boat, y'all have a problem with math. Because 103 plus 77, like you said yesterday, can't be 116. So one Edgel himself doesn't know how many persons were on that boat, like he was boasting before. And the boat was not overloaded. One Edgel. You see, Indar got more sense than you. Indar ain't saying nothing because Indar know that you lying all the time. And so he put you in front there. Go out and make yourself a fool. It is shameful. It is criminal. It is disgusting. But these rascals, or what these rascals are doing to our people, how much longer are we going to take this kind of nonsense? How much longer? How much longer? And so we will call. Edgel must go. Edgel must resign. The president must send Edgel packing. Now, you know what they did to save themselves? They sent the entire team who was responsible for seeing that boat loaded. The entire team, the management team, they sent home. What are you sending them home for? You think that will appease us? It will not. You are the one who got to go home. Every day, same things, different days, in different forms. Accidents on our roadways, and you can't do anything about it. But the Minister of Tint fighting with tint on people's car. When you ought to have traffic policemen there manning what is happening, you're fighting with tint. Crime on the increase. You don't have time with that. You're fighting with tint. You know? The Minister of Tint ain't got time to do anything else. But she stand up at the door of the Yomanayana and blocking people from going in there. Blocking opposition MPs from going in there. You know? That's her priority. Some of you, they wouldn't have, or they ain't got enough water to wash away some of y'all's sins. They ain't got enough water to wash away some of y'all's sins. And y'all want to stand there and talk about how y'all good and y'all this and y'all that and y'all the other and y'all the other and y'all the other and y'all care about whom? Y'all care about whom? You don't care about our Guyanese people. You don't care about them. You don't care about them. You don't. You don't care about them. I'm supposed to have MP Psycho Andrews joining me at some time. I know he has been up and about with lots of things. I'm hoping that he's going to be able to join us as the minister with responsibility for public works. You don't care about us. You don't care about us. You don't care about our people. You don't care about our people. And it's alarming. I don't know if you know, I feel so distressed, so heartbroken, and so angry at this time that I'm not even sure that I really want the operator to show us some of those videos, or to play some of those videos with the way these survivors are they are retelling these stories. They're recounting their experience there. Breaks your heart when you watch that mother who lost her 7 children, when you hear her cry, when you hear her bawl. Breaks your heart. It breaks your heart when you hear the mother of that little 4 years old girl, when she says to us, the water was too much, the boxes and so fell on us. I was holding my baby, I was holding my daughter, and the water just came and lashed us, and the boxes fell on us. And somebody scrambled my daughter, and we were pushed out. And a man was holding on to a roll of vinole. And he gave it to me so that I can save my baby, and he went down. God bless him.
Oh.
He disappeared.
Oh, but when this one them lash me away, I thought them pit me fall, and I thought them pit me try to feel it, me feel my baby self and golly, but me not feel them. Oh my God, oh. Golly is 12 years, next month the 16th could be she born, she'll get about 13 years. Oh my God, oh.
Cry of a mother, 7 children. What can we say to that mother this time? And you know what this government will do? They will go there and try to kerfuffle all of those family members who have lost their loved ones. A 12-year-old child has lost her mother, father, and 2 siblings. And you know what they will do? They will go there and play their hugging up and they're crying with them. And then they will kerfuffle them like they did to the Mahdia 20, the family members of the Mahdia 20. They used Kioma Griffith, the one they rewarded with the Minister of Labor and Manpower. They used him as the attorney to kerfuffle them and give them $3 and $5 million. I don't know who they will use this time, but they will want to use somebody, some attorney this time, to go there and kerfuffle those family members and pay them off a $5 million or a $3 million or a $4 million or a $6 million or $2 million for each person, each family member that they would have lost, thinking that that will satisfy them. Never again should we have this happening in our country. Never again. We can't be the Dubai of the Caribbean and we have this kind of sloppiness happening in our country. Can't be. We can't boast about development in this country when an ordinary ferry you can't maintain. Can't be. So when you hear Ashley and the whole pack of clowns talk about development, where we should be asking them, maybe at the farm, at the pool houses, at the apartment buildings, with the many luxury vehicles. Not development which will improve the lives of our people. Not that kind of development. Not the foolishness they throw out there with the 10 days workers. You work for 10 days and you get $40,000 a month. When house rent by itself is $60,000 the least. You're hearing about rent, $25,000 per head. So when you receive $40,000 and you have to pay $25,000 per head, and it's 10 different persons living in one home, occupying one home, what development is that? What development is that? And you know what? These 10-day workers or pathway workers that we call them, they don't want to put them on the regular system, on the permanent system, because you want to dangle the carrot over their heads all the time. MV Barima should not have had to suffer the fate it suffered. That vessel should have been somewhere as a tourist site. But these people don't think about us. All they think about is how they can make monies for themselves. They don't think about us. That vessel should have been parked a long, long time. We fed up. We tired. But we cannot continue to say we are fed up and tired when we allow the same things to happen on different days. If you're fed up and tired, you have to act. You got to move. You've got to make the calls with your presence on the streets. You got to move to the office of the president and register your concerns there. Not going down to Ministry of Public Works. Or even if you go there, your concerns must be registered. We've got to go back to the days of proper agitation. All now. Edgil is a bishop. We should be singing some good hymns and choruses for Edgil. And for Indar, the karaoke minister, we should be singing some nice karaoke songs for him. These people don't deserve any respect from us because they have no decency whatsoever. None whatsoever. And so today I want to strip them of that title. Honorable. They're not honorable. Nowhere. By no means they're not honorable. I don't know if operator has another video that he would be able to play for us. Because like I said, it is disgusting. It is hurting your heart every time you have to hear those mothers speak. When you see those fathers, the tears of those fathers, the tears of grandparents because they were expecting some of their grandchildren to come home, to come to their homes, to spend the August vacation. This is what they have to face. Same things on a different day. Why? That's the question. Why?
Oh, but when this one them lash me away, I thought them pit me fall and I thought them pit me try to feel it, me feel me baby self and golly, but me not feel them. Oh my God, oh. Golly's 12 years, next month the 16th will be she born, she'll get about 13 years. Oh my God, oh. She bought clothes for she bought it all already, oh. Oh, Golly, oh. With that, oh.
So I had a baby with 6 other kids. And the back's cover we down because this boat is no time, this boat taking me water and this back cover down. I try to grab him my baby, but the back's hanging out my hand. All I have to do is a fight for them. I always tell them, I couldn't see them all in no come down. I try to thump and thump like wait for them. 7 of them are last. 5 year and 2 by.
Carry on. It's been a long day without you, my friend, and I'll tell you all about it when I see you again. We've come a long way from where we began. Oh, I'll tell you all about it when I see you again. When I see you again. How do I breathe without you? I'm feeling so cold.
Guyanese brothers and sisters, our daughter had already had her clothes ready for her birthday. Maybe those very clothes are going to be used to bury her. Maybe. It is hurting to the core when we see the way the PPP government is treating our Guyanese citizens. This has been the cry every single day in different settings. Every single day, this has been the cry. Every single day, this is the cry. Every single day, this is the cry. How much longer are we going to have this happening? How much longer are we going to have this happening? Huh? How much longer are we going to have this happening? How much longer? How much longer? It cannot work. It cannot continue. We cannot continue to have these things happening. Cannot continue to have these things happening. We cannot. We cannot continue to have these things happening. Yeah. Ejil and Indar must go. Ejil and Indar must go. How seaworthy was this vessel? How seaworthy was this vessel? And so all the blame must be laid at the feet of this government, not the captain. Not the captain. This government must take responsibility for that.
Chairman, the new vessel that is expected to come on stream would be the MV Malaysia, which is en route to Guyana. It has left Port Calcutta and it's coming to Guyana. That boat will service the Georgetown Region 1 route, making stops at Mabaruma, Marijuana, Port Kaituma. And that will replace the MV Barima and the MV Kimbia that presently traverse those routes.
You've heard from the minister, not my mouth. You heard the minister. To date, and that was since 2004, like I was telling you. To date, we are still waiting. We are still waiting for that. We are still waiting for that. We are still waiting for that. Still waiting for that. Still waiting for that. Hence, every blame must be placed at the feet of this government. They're no good. No good. No good for this country. Ejil, Indar, Vice President, none of them, they're no good for this country. They are a plague to this country. And so, I don't know if the operator will have the other video there to show us how this bishop of a minister, and the arrogance with which he spoke about the vessel not being overloaded, no engine problem, no mechanical problem, and we must stop misleading the people. And the survivors have told us, they've told the world the horror story. Last night we had a vigil, and one guy there, one citizen, was out there. He would normally send goods to Port Kaituma to be sold, because he lived there for many years. And he said? He was on that ferry. He was on that ferry after he packed his goods. He was on that ferry. And it is not now, it is all the time that that ferry is being packed. And I can testify to that you have to go there sometimes the day before, depending on what you're sending on that ferry. You have to go the day before to get it on, to ensure that you go there, you write up everything, you buy the ticket and everything. You have to go there before. A car was going up there. I had to go the day before to get it on the boat, because they start packing from the day before. And he related the condition that he saw there and how packed that ferry was. And he decided, I'm not going on the ferry. After more than half of an hour, he decided he was not going on that ferry any longer. Richard Allen. And so these stories that they want to tell us, fictitious stories, plenty untruth, plenty lies. Disgusting. 2 boats were purchased after having been approved those sums by Parliament. 2 were purchased. To date, not one we can see plying that very route that Ejil spoke about. Not one can be seen plying that route. Not one. So who do we blame for this tragedy? The small man on the ground? Who do we blame for a boat that is not seaworthy? The captain? Who do we blame for overloading that boat? The captain? Where were the persons who were supposed to be doing the checks? Where is the SOP that they ought to follow? How often do we have staff development sessions to remind our staff of the way they should be operating, especially on these ferries that have to travel these long distances? How often do we conduct staff development sessions? And so therefore the negligence and incompetence of the PPPC must not be covered. We should never stop speaking out about it. We shouldn't be afraid to speak out about it. But you know what? Many times, quite a lot of folks, they don't want to talk because they fear victimization, Because if you're applying for a little contract here or 2 contracts there, if you speak out, black line across your name, you can't get another contract. If you speak out and you work in the public service, they give you the royal treatment, not in a good way. And they would want to transfer you here and transfer you there. You know, that's their way of dealing with issues. They want to suppress Guyanese public all the time. Just the same way they try to suppress the press association, the private media houses. Just the same way they try to suppress opposition MPs. It is disgusting. Very disgusting. Very callous. And Guyanese brothers and sisters, if we don't take a stand, then we are going to be accomplices of these criminals. If we don't speak out now. One life is one life too much. One life is one life too much. And we're talking here about 103 lives. And there are many more that we will have to see coming up in the days to come. At this point, our hearts are with those families. Our prayers are with those families. They're in our thoughts, and we will do everything that is possible to ensure that we can reach to them and offer our comfort, offer them our love. And we know that the government would put every system in place to prevent us, but we will get to them. We've already done so, and we will get to many more of them. I remember when there was the Madia 20, they had blocked us from being able to travel with chartering a flight, because they had booked up all the flights for several days, so we couldn't get into Madia. And we know they're going to attempt to do the same thing. And we know that they've done some of it already, because like I said earlier, they've already started calling staff from the Transport and Harbors Department and warning them not to speak to anyone. If you don't have nothing to hide, then you don't have to warn anybody. If you don't have nothing to hide, then you will allow to flow the information. But you got plenty things to hide in there. You got plenty things to hide, Edgil. And so, Mr. President, if you allow us to come on the streets, we will come. If you don't do what you're supposed to do. And if we don't see you do what you're supposed to do, maybe it's because they got secrets for you. Or maybe you are not in control. But we can stop talking the talks and we can walk the walk. Because 103, that's record-breaking history would have been created under this, in this country, under the PPPC, for all the negative things, from the drugs to the killings to the police harassment and brutality. The Madia 20, Adriana Young, Oren Boston, Quindon Bacchus, the Henry Boys. Now, the MV Barima. How many more? How many more? How many more? Viewers, I want you to hold in your prayers our Indigenous brothers and sisters, our Afro-Guyanese brothers and sisters, our Indo-Guyanese brothers and sisters, as we join together as a nation to pray for them, to comfort them in whatever way possible. For those who live close to where they're living, to go there and hug them. Because the answers they're looking for, they're not forthcoming. And they will never be forthcoming because this deceptive government has got a lot to hide. We love you, Guyana. I love you. And we pray that God will come down and strengthen you and grant you the comfort you need to go through this period and the rest of periods to come. Because this here cannot and will not be swept away overnight. How do you say to a mother who has got to go to her home and see 7 beds empty, or 4 beds empty, or 5 beds empty? How do you say to a mother who has got to look at the slippers that her son wore, her daughters wore, the clothing they wore? What do you say to a mother? The tears of too many Guyanese are on this government. The tears of our people are on the PPP. But as a party, we will stand with our people. We will continue to advocate for our people. To our servicemen who are out there, we applaud you. To every other Guyanese who is out there and who will continue to be out there, we applaud you. To our friends, the French, Trinidad, we thank you for lending us a helping hand. We see what you're doing, and we want to say thank you. And while we're saying thank you, I wonder what system or systems the government is putting in place to deal with the counseling aspect of these family members, especially those survivors, especially those of our servicemen who have got to be there day in, day out. What support system are you putting in place to deal with their psyche? Because they're human beings. And when you have to see 103 bodies bloated and floating on the water, I wonder what systems you all have in place to deal with that. You know, it's like, I remember the helicopter 7. The 2, we don't hear anything about the 2 survivors. Maybe they give them some little package and tell them to shut their mouths. Not a word from the 2 survivors like we're hearing from these survivors. And you know why these survivors are speaking out? Because the government did not get hold of them to pull them in a corner and lock them away. They didn't get hold of them, so they were speaking out. I don't know if operator is able to pull up the one with the young man who was speaking. If not, then we'll have to leave that for another time. But I want to say to you, Guyanese brothers and sisters, we will continue to be on the lookout to offer comfort in whatever way and whatever assistance we can offer to our people who have suffered this great loss. We will be there to offer that kind of comfort. We love you. We will pray for you. And while we're praying for you that God will grant you that peace, we want to say and continually will say, Ejil must go. Endar must go. And there must be an independent investigation into this whole scenario. Not cat who will come to watch milk, but independent people. And if you're going to have independent people to watch over and to do the investigation, then it must not be people that are chosen by the government alone, because we know you. We must have independent investigators coming to do that, who are recommended by the combined opposition. Not you choosing alone, because we know what y'all will do. Same day, same things, different days. Every day you wake up is another cry. Every night you go to sleep, you wonder what is going to happen. You're on the streets, you wonder what is going to happen. When it's not the police bullying people off the streets, is the police crashing into people? Is the police beating somebody? Is the police shooting somebody? And then you hear mistaken identity. Every day is something. Same things, different days. How many more? How much longer? We are tired and fed up of this. With that, we want to extend again our love, our prayers, and our heartfelt condolences to those family members who have lost their loved ones. To those survivors, we extend our love to you. And we will find every single one of you to offer our comfort. To offer you comfort. And to help you to be reintegrated into normal life again. Operator, I don't know if you're able to find any other video. If not, we are going to say take care, goodbye. Remember, your love is our love, and our love is your love. As we continue to live in this land, this great land of ours called Guyana, under the motto which says, one people, one nation, one destiny. Until such time, my viewers, I want to thank you for being here with me on this episode of Same Things, Different Days. Take care. We'll see you again next week for more on Same Things, Different Days. May God bless you all. And as we continue the call, Edgil must go. Indar must go. Do stay well. Bye-bye.